Hello folks, and welcome to another video. Today I thought I'd revisit my Pentax ME Super, which I've had since 1984. And in this particular video I thought what I'd like to do is show you the rather unique way that Pentax load their film or their film transports through the camera. And they use something called magic needles, which is probably, as I said, quite unique to Pentax. I think they use it on most of their film cameras. So the first thing we need to do to demonstrate this, first of all I want to get rid of all this sort of rubbish on the table. So here we have, yes, guess what, that's a film. I think it ran out in 2014, so I don't think we should be using that anymore. This one is actually DX coded film there, which is sort of this area here, which picks up on the camera, which is more about later on. We'll get rid of the box. That is actually the original box, folks, yes. Right, so we're at the back of the top of the camera. So what we need to do here, I'm going to use my pointy stick or my pen. We need to make sure that the camera is set here on this input dial to 125x, which is the flash sync speed on this particular camera, which is actually quite fast. Most cameras of the era were 60th of a second. This is actually 125th of a second. So we need to make sure that is set, and that will become apparent later on. So we just want to click that round to there, so it's now lined up. I don't know, let's get my pointy stick again, lined up in there 125th of a second. And what that does, that sets the shutter to a manual speed, so it's not governed by any of the light coming in to the camera. So you can shoot, it doesn't use the batteries. You could take the batteries out of the camera, and actual fact this camera hasn't got any batteries in, but it's not using any of the electronic shutter systems or metering systems. It's a basically fully manual camera, and the reason why that will become apparent. Right, so next thing we need to do is pop the back. So on these cameras, as in most cameras at the time, you just pop up the rewind crank here, and it's probably a bit wrong-handed for me. We pop open the back. So I don't know, I can set it down there. And he can't, probably not. Up there. I don't break into the damn thing. Right, so we look in the back there. So what we have here, this is where your film drops in there. And would be in here would be the pickups for the DX sensor of the film, which I showed earlier. But this being of the age that it is, unfortunately it doesn't have any of them. This area here, this is your shutter in there. A word of warning, don't touch it. It's a very delicate piece of mechanical equipment, very thin pieces of metal. So do not, under no circumstances, touch it. If you're going to clean it, use one of the little puffer brushes very, very gently. But other than that, don't use any compressed air or anything like that, because it will damage it. This area I always refer to as the film gate. I'm not sure whether that's the correct term, but I always refer to that as the film gate. This here is the magic needles, and basically, I don't know how good this close lens on here will do it, but here, these are in effect to serve as little pins or needles. So there's a little gap in between each one. I think you can see the gap. And the idea is the film leader can drop in any one of those. Now I think on other cameras the system is basically just a little various perhaps slots around there. So you have to hope that one of them slots is actually lined up in a position that you can actually put your film in. And we'll just take a look here. This is the back of the camera, or the back of the inside. This is the pressure plate which holds the film flat across this area here. Now one word of note here, always make sure this is clean. If you get any specks of dirt or anything on it, muck, it can possibly scratch the film. So always make sure this is nice and clean. Again, just puffer brush, gently wipe it off that area there, but again, nothing around here. So what we have to do is, this is the film, this is your leader obviously. Now I don't know how I'm going to manage this without making things fall over. Let's just let that fall like that for a minute. Right, so what we need to do, so there are basically two methods. you can drop the film, see that, sorry, that, you can drop the film into there, pull it across the back, and put it across the back and drop it into these. I think that's the way that the manual suggests that we do it, but I find it a bit more of a fiddle. But the other way is the way that I always use it, which is to put the leader in there first. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just slightly reposition myself, and then because I'm not sat in a very good position, I'll try and reposition myself and make it easier to demonstrate this. Right, so slightly repositioned. Trouble is, I think I'll probably block most of it with my hands, but basically you sort of hold your camera thus, and you take your film, and this is where it's going to be difficult, I don't know if I can see, but what you're trying to do is you push your film leader into here, making sure it's lined up with the bottom. Yeah, it's quite difficult to see, and the camera's probably not focusing that well actually, folks. But in effect, let's see if I can do this. Push that into there. Obviously you must be very careful that you don't touch your shutter. So you push that into there, yeah? And you see, it's come out, but let's try the other way. This is going to be a bit of a fiddle because I'm trying to make sure that I'm in view. But you push that in between the magic needles, yeah, like that. Which is going to come out again. I will do it. It's a long time since I've used a film camera. So push that in. Yep. Then, keeping your hands off the shutter, put your finger on that with your thumb. Yep, you can see that. Then pull it across the back of the film gate. Sorry, that will drop in. Huh? So you have to make sure that that's all nicely lined up. You can see that it's in between the magic needles there. Yep. Let me snap that down. Make sure that locks in position. Right now, this is why now we've set the camera to 125th of a second. What we need to do now is wind it on once. Let's see if I can do it that way. Wind it on once, and we watch to make sure that the film properly takes up in these teeth here. Because we wound it on once, you've now caught the shutter. But because there's no battery, because the lens cap is on, obviously the meter reading is going to be way down low, so chances are the shutter wouldn't fire. So we need to fire the shutter. Now what a lot of people do is then wind it on again, watch and make sure it actually properly takes up. But what I do is I will now shut the back, and in effect the only exposed piece of film is this, so anything now in the cassette is unexposed. So, and as you can see the counter, I probably can't see that, the counter is still on 0, so I'm going to wind it on again. So what you have now is, in this area, is an unexposed piece of film. So I'm just going to trip that. Now, the next piece I wind on will be, so I'm now ready to go. So I'm actually ready to go. And by doing it that way, you can actually get, if you got to roll a 24 exposure film, you can actually get perhaps 27 out, because they always give you a little bit of leeway at the beginning. So hopefully you'll get 27. Most places will develop 27 at no extra cost. But other than that, you might actually incur a cost. But that is basically how you load a film in the ME Super. It's not perhaps the easiest way of doing it, but I'm just going to reset, so bear with me, folks. Right, so you are back again in a slightly more comfortable position. And then basically, as I said, the camera is now set to go. Obviously making sure that you set your film speed there, which that was a 200 ASA. And that is in essence how you load a film into the Pentax, certainly Pentax ME Super. Now obviously it's an old film, so I'm going to just pop the back open. Right, so as you can see, folks, I just popped the back, and as you can see, it's wound around the magic needles in the normal way that any other camera would do it. So in that part now it's basically exactly the same as you would in any other camera. But it's quite a unique loading system, I think, in the Pentax sort of camera. And then if you wanted to obviously rewind the film, it's on the ME Supers, you just pop that pin there and you rewind it. You have to do it the right way. So you can see that. So it pulls the film back round, because obviously you've disconnected the gear from that end. Pulls it back into the film cassette. So he pops out the magic needles, and obviously the camera they wouldn't be doing it with the back off, so it wouldn't be flicking around like that. But that is how you do it. So there you go, folks. It's your Pentax magic needles. Quite a unique system, I think. I think it was on all of Pentax's cameras, but quite a unique system. I hope that you found that informative, and thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on another video. Bye bye for now.